All right, guys, hopefully my camera doesn't cut off. Just clean the screen. I think there's not a whole lot of storage left on this phone, so it is what it is. If it cuts off, fuck it. But I want to talk about the inner dialogue. This is something that I don't see very many people talking about here on YouTube, in the health community, etc. It's always, oh, take this supplement or take this or do that, blah, 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 blah. A lot of people aren't talking about the absolute importance of regaining the sovereignty of your mind, the emptiness of the mind. We don't have empty minds here, folks, and don't think that an empty mind is somehow something that lacks, because it's not. An empty mind gives you a clean slate, if you will. It allows you to have control over your life and the outcomes in your life, and etc. The control of the mind. So how do we gain control over the mind? Well, we have to have a system of tools that allows us to see how our minds are programmed. Luckily, we have that antidote, and we talk about it here on this channel often. They're the 4 inner exercises. Obtaining or locating a plant ally, a power plant that can aid you in your development, is also imperative. I'm not going to get into a rant about that and how to do that in this video. We've discussed it in the past. But the 4 inner exercises will allow you to come into contact with your own programming. Contrary to popular belief, people talk to themselves constantly in their heads. It's called the inner dialogue, the inner script of the Archon, I call it. We have in our consciousness, in our mind, in our awareness, a looping script of inner dialogue that maintains itself on its own volition. The inner exercises allow us to come into contact with that inner dialogue. Now, the inner dialogue that you have moving through your head is literally creating your reality for you without you knowing it. The inner dialogue that moves through our heads that we are completely unaware of here in this matrix, because we were never taught how to have a peaceful blank slate of a mind, right? It dictates your emotions. It dictates what you put your focus to, your awareness, etc. Catch my drift? Now, unfortunately, the inner dialogue, more often than not, is counterproductive to our own growth. It actually works against us. It's a weapon system, a Trojan horse. So years of living in this matrix, we've developed this inner dialogue, right? And it steers us the wrong direction, or in the wrong direction. So we have to have a system of tools to dismantle the programming in the mind so that we can rebuild based on virtue and actual sanity. You will never have true sanity, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a bunch of clutter in your mind that's dictating your life that you're not even aware of. So magic is the key here, right? Sorcery is the key, because these systems allow us to shatter the perceptual veil and peek beyond the layers of the conscious mind. Catch my drift? I hope that makes sense, because these are really important little lessons here, you guys. The inner dialogue, if I can speak today. So the thoughtlessness exercise. How many of you have done this? How many of you have gone into a dark room, turned the lights off, cleared your mind, and tried to access a state of no thinking? You will come into contact with the inner dialogue almost immediately if you try to do this. You'll be thinking thoughts. Those thoughts might be telling you to eat certain foods. Those thoughts may be counterproductive to your own peace of mind, right? Oftentimes the inner dialogue tells us things about ourselves that aren't true. Bad things about us, our image, our worth. Catch my drift? So unfortunately, and this is a pill that many people don't want to swallow, our minds have been set up by living in this crazy culture to actually work against us. Our mind can be our best friend and ally, or our own worst enemy if it's gone unchecked. You have got to take the reins of power back. Over time, if you do the thoughtlessness exercise and you keep attempting to enter into a state of no thinking as the thoughts spool through your head, they will lose their grasp on you and they will fade away, and you will be left with a blank, clean mind. When you access this state of clarity, you will then realize that you control your reality with your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, etc. But you will not realize this until you shed the layers of the programmed self, and we've all got it in us, folks. Don't try to act like you're some master magician and, oh, you've got it all figured out. No. We are all wounded healers walking the razor's edge. Do the inner exercises, folks. Do the full body relaxation exercise, the thoughtlessness exercise, the motionlessness exercise, and the inner temple, and watch what happens. And you don't just do these once every 2 weeks. You do them consistently. It becomes part of your routine. And when it becomes part of your routine to give yourself an autopsy of the mind, you will over time realize how much power your mind actually generates. It's literally creating everything, folks. Everything is mental in this world. The mind is the most important thing to get into a state of health. Catch my drift? When the layers of the Archon are shed, the inner dialogue is shed, you will be reborn anew. So much more can be said about this. Unfortunately, I need to get going. I'm afraid that this video is going to die and I'm going to lose all this content. Peace be with you.